Thank you for joining us in our program today, Our Story from the Diaspora. Here we tell the stories of brave young men and women who left their native land to pursue their dreams elsewhere. And this platform actually is to inspire those who aspire, to get to where our guests are today, to get it right. Because I tell you from experience, it's not easy out here. People think, coming out here, things will start happening for you. You have to go through a whole lot, and if you're not focused, you will lose your you lose your way along. You lose your focus along the way. So in this platform, we tell our stories. How we started out here, the challenges, and how we are able to overcome those challenges. Please, can you mute yourself? Thank you. All right, we don't waste much time. Today on the program, we are privileged to have Patrick Idemudia as our guest. So Patrick, can you kindly tell us about yourself?
Thanks, Grace. My name, of course, is Patrick Idemudia. I'm Nigerian. My background, I was born in Lagos, and my dad was a military personnel. So at some point, we moved up north to Kano, where I did my primary school education. The wind of destiny blew me back to Lagos, and I attended my secondary school in Lagos. And again, the wind of destiny blew me back to the north, and I did my university education in Kano. I studied electrical engineering, and I graduated after 5 years. Initially, my interest was to go into telecommunications because my internship was done with a telecoms outfit. So the intention was to go along that line of telecommunications. But as fate will have it, I found myself in the logistics arm of the business. Maersk, there's a company called Maersk. It's a Danish company. It's a Danish shipping company. It's spelled M-A-E-R-S-K. They came into Nigeria when the president then, Olusegun Obasanjo, privatized the ports. So they got 4 berths at Apapa Wharf. So I was privileged to be one of the first few that was recruited from NYSC. So I started, and luckily for me, I got in, and I was more or less a management trainee. So that saw me, go around. I got trainings from different countries, from the US, from Malaysia. I got trained in Ghana, in the UK at some point. So because of the nature of the company, they invest a lot in human capital. So that's how I went around. At some point, I became ripe to sail my ship on my own. So I was moved to Benin Republic, what we call Benin Republic. So there I worked as the head of the planning operations. They started the whole new terminal, and they needed people with experience to build the terminal. So I joined in setting up the operations team, and opportunities came again in Nigeria, and I went back to Nigeria and ended up being the head of operations in acting capacity though. While I was doing that, I got this offer I have in Kenya currently to come and flip more or less the operations of the grain terminal. It was so analog, if I may, for want of a better word, it was so analog. So they needed like cutting edge technology to change the way the business is run. So, and that's how I got to Kenya, and that's been my story so far. It's been 4 years, 4 years of success. If you ask me, made very good milestones, and I can only wish for more. Thank you.
That's an interesting profile. So when you moved to Kenya, did you plan to stay this long there?
Quite frankly, let me digress a bit. How and why I came to Kenya. 2015, I think in the month of October, there was a Chinese firm that came. They wanted to set up in Nigeria. So they wanted to see the port infrastructure just to have a feel of how their goods, the raw materials, the machineries for the setup was going to be handled. So then I usually take guests for a port tour, a terminal tour, because like I said earlier, I basically started the terminal. So we got into some discussions bordering on international business, shipping and logistics, multimodal ways of doing, moving cargoes and all of that. So the guy found it interesting. So he went deep into the dynamics of the Nigerian economy. And he told me something pointedly that the current government of the day, which unfortunately is still there, the way they are running the government, if they don't stop defending the local currency the way they are doing, our currency was going to fall. He told me that. I didn't really get a true picture, but that's what he mentioned. Yeah, so that's what he mentioned. So he just sold, he sold hopelessness about the Nigerian economy to me. So for me, I started doing some maths. My current earnings is going to drop by the mere fact of the devaluation or the depreciation of the Naira. So I started looking out, where are the opportunities? And again, because of I spent 10 years in the industry, I built a network of friends, a network of professionals. So in the business, you ask, where are the opportunities and all of that? So I was called by the CEO of the company, current CEO of the company, because we once worked together, that, hey, there's an opportunity here. It's the terminal is there. And because you've been trained on how to automate terminals and all of that, we need that kind of skill here. So it was on that note, I got a call. So I came here in November to come see if it's a place I'd love to work. I saw that there was expansion, there was improvement opportunities. So I, gave a nod to the offer. And of course, I gave notice to my former employer that I was leaving. And I found myself here early 2016.
Oh, that's great. So that was the motivation.
What is happening today, I got a wind of what's happening today. In fact, I didn't know it was going to get worse. But of course, I just started looking out and see if there are opportunities out there, to apply my trade. And that's how I found myself there.
Yeah, the problem in Nigeria is actually common among most of the African countries, So comparing Nigeria and Kenya in terms of government, economic situation, and employment, what was the difference?
Okay, for Kenya, Kenya is such a beautiful country to start with. When it comes to infrastructure, they are an African country, but they are really doing well. For the last 4 years I've been here, save for this year, they've maintained a stable currency for the last 4 years. After this COVID thing came up, currency started depreciating like the Nigerian Naira, but to a large extent, they've been stable. Kenya boasts of a national budget bigger, albeit slightly, than the Nigerian budget. Kenya is a population of around 50 million, 52 million, basically half of twice the size of Lagos. Nigeria is over 200 million. It's an African country where you have the challenges of official graft and all of that. It's there. There's constant power in Kenya. There is, the government thought it wise to connect the two major cities because of the economic benefits. Nigeria connected Abuja and Kaduna. To me, it's a very wise and narrow-minded decision. It would have been Lagos, Abuja, because those are the two big cities, so to speak, when it comes to the Nigerian economy. So there are certain things they get right here. Of course, they have their challenges of tribalism like Nigeria. They don't have much of the religious thing like we do in Nigeria. But in all, it's a country where, as a government official, you just can't do anything. You can't just come out and say snake has swallowed money or monkeys have eaten money. There will be an outcry. People will come out. There will be social media, blogs, and all of that, complaining about official graft. So there are certain things they get right here in Kenya. It's an African country, but there are certain things they get right. that unfortunately in Nigeria, I mean, with the educated populace, with you know, who we are, I mean, in the black race, you know, we've not gotten right. I think there's a lot we can learn from Kenya here.
Yeah, Nigeria has a long way to go, you know, and with the situation of, I mean, the way things are going, if we don't get our priority right, I mean, things are really, really going to get worse, you know. So, Patrick, let's get to the main topic of the day. What is your story? I know leaving your birthland, you know, where you have your families, your friends, where you build your network, you know, and then moving to another country entirely is not an easy transition, because you get to meet a lot of challenges on the way, you know, and it's like as if you're starting all over again. So what are those challenges you encounter, and how were you able, you know, to overcome them? Because this platform is because there are a lot of people, like we've been saying, I mean, we'll be talking about what is happening in Africa and in Nigeria most especially. So many people aspire to live, but their efforts are being frustrated. You know, they are trying. Nigeria, Nigerian youth, they are really, really trying, but the system is like frustrating them. So everyone is planning to leave, you know, to pursue their dream elsewhere where they will be appreciated. So this platform is to let them understand that it's not easy anywhere. The beginning is going to be rough, you know. So, but how? I mean, if you have focus, you will definitely achieve your dreams. So, Patrick, what was your story? How was your transition from Nigeria to Canada? To Kenya. I mean, what were the challenges you faced? Was there any point in time you were like, no, you can't do this, you know, I have to go back to Nigeria? So what is your story?
Okay, thank you very much. To start with, luckily for me, it's not the first time I'm moving out of the shores of Nigeria to work. The first time I really, really went to work, moved to family and all of that was in Benin, a French-speaking country. I'm from an Anglophone country. There was a culture shock. I mean, what I've observed that Africans are kind of scared of Nigerians. They feel they know that they know we are aggressive. Sometimes it's for the wrong reasons and all of that. So for me, there was a culture shock for me because I saw in Benin to start with, I saw people really timid, you know. So I realized that even if you are black, you still see me. I still have my culture. I still have my idiosyncrasies, which is different from yours as a Beninese. So when I was coming to Kenya, I got my mind made up. I knew I was going to see some culture shocks as well. I read a lot about Kenya on the internet, some pleasant stories, some not so pleasant stories. But again, it was a cocktail of the two, you know, pleasant and unpleasant stories. So on getting here, ab initio, I was welcomed. When I got down to work, there were some, you know, because of what I do, because of my training is all about automating processes. And once you automate processes, there's job losses. You can't divorce job losses from automation. So, you know, there was this fear that Oga, that's what they call Nigerians, Oga is coming to sack Kenyans so that they will increase. That was the gist going around, that Oga's bonuses and pay rise is based on the amount of heads he can cut. There's a truth and a lie about the story. My pay rise is not based on cutting heads, but yes, I was brought in to cut heads. But again, the company was expanding, so we were able to move some of the good heads that were cut into this organization. So at first, the team didn't get the big picture, and I wasn't in a position to share that. So there was a lot of hostilities. It got diabolical, if you let me use the word, to the extent that people were sabotaging, you know, the work just to get one frustrated. But again, because there's a goal, you know, there's a method to every madness. So I was reading what was going on and I was reacting accordingly. to a large extent, we got through with the first phase of the automation, which is getting a system, a formidable system to run the business. We are on the second phase of the automation. Yesterday, being Saturday, we got the final bit right. Because we've gotten the final bit right, and I've told management that we have gotten to this point, definitely we'll have to cut headcount, which is what people push against. So there's been the good side, the not too good side, relating with people. Again, the cultures are different. I've tried to a large extent to adapt to the culture. Kenyans are very nice people. Kenyans are very intelligent people. I mean, I've met quite a lot in my sojourn. I've met them, I've met Ghanaians, I've met Africans, but I still give it to Ghanaians and Kenyans. They are really doing well as well. So Kenyans are really doing well. So there's that, there's a foreigner. It does happen. But again, because I know my background, because I know what I'm chasing, I take no prisoners. I go for the kill at all times to get results.
You all can be part of this. You can participate in this discussion. If you have any question for our guest, you can just unmute yourself and ask your question, or you can just type in your question in the chat button. So Patrick, yeah, that's very interesting. And you made mention that you have been having a cool time, there. Tell us about it.
Okay, I believe they are Nigerians, and maybe I've seen a Kenyan on this group. If there's one thing that makes me happy, that makes life worth living, is this: electricity. Mm-hmm. I don't own a gen here because there's constant power here. Now, a lot of youth in Nigeria, they can do a lot. It's a shame a lot of Nigerian guys going to BEC stuff, advanced fee fraud, internet fraud, and all that. These guys are very smart guys who channeled their energies in the wrong direction. Because we have constant power here, I've been able to study a lot. There's a lot I've studied, because there's constant power. I don't need to bother myself about putting on the gen set and all of that. Mm-hmm. Yes, relative security. I can drive from here to Mount Kenya. I can drive, I live in Mombasa, by the way. I can drive from here to Nairobi. Not one policeman will stop me to want to extort me. I can't say that driving from Lagos to Benin. Things are well structured here. You want to open an account, they ask you for me, because I'm a foreigner, I have to present my alien ID. Things are structured. You can track things. The economy is running well. The government, to a large extent, is kind of sincere about how to run the economy. Just like Nigeria, they've got cattle here that, people have their cattle that they sell for meat and for milk. There's along that chain, people have started farming, or people farm hay that they sell to the herders. So you don't have livestock running into communities, chasing people, or AK wielding herdsmen going up and about the place. So you can move freely. So security to a large extent is guaranteed. It's better than what we have back home. Like I said, electricity is better than what we have back home. Infrastructure to a large extent, it's better if you want to put both countries on a scale. It's better. So for me, what else does one want in life than having these basic things? You have good roads, relatively good roads. You have electricity. There's security. What else does one yearn for? This is one thing that is lacking that makes me really appreciate my host country. Can they do better? Yes. Are they doing better? They are doing better. So, in all, you see, these are the things that, myself and my family enjoy here in Kenya. So, I mean, it goes without mention that it's one thing that is lacking in Nigeria.
Yeah, talking about your family, have they been to Nigeria?
Well,
how was that experience? And would they love to go back to Nigeria again?
Well, my wife is Nigerian, so my kids are as well. So we visited Nigeria since we left. Since they left, we visited Nigeria once.
Okay.
It was a mixed feeling for them. Yes, they are seeing they got home to see relatives, but again, this power thing, you know, it was stressful, struggling with putting on the genset. The kids were asking, you know, why is it that we always have power outage here and all of that. So that experience again, it's not too pleasant for the kids. So yes, they were happy to see relatives, you know, relatives they see over the video call and all that. They're happy to see them in person and all that. So it was a mixed bag when they visited in 2018.
So let's talk more about Nigeria. Once again, if you want to participate, you can unmute yourself and ask our guests any of them question, or you can send in your question in the chat, I mean to say. So let's talk about Nigeria. So Nigeria is, Nigeria, we have the highest rates of brain drain because our skilled professionals are not being appreciated, you know, and so they are all moving out of the country, you know, to pursue their dream elsewhere. What's the hope for Nigeria if we lose all the best brains? What is left for us? What's our hope?
To answer your question, I would say Nigeria has, you know, the citizens are not ready. Let me just be frank with you. You talked about brain draining while you were asking me questions. I was listening to something on social media the other day. The lady said 75% of the Black doctors in the United States are of Nigerian origin.
Of course.
Now, there was some other video I saw the other day that said Nigerians are the most educated immigrant population in the US. Now, if you put that side by side with the person running the affairs of Nigeria, how do you reconcile that? The citizens are not hungry enough to fight for what is theirs. Because it starts from there. You see, leaving the shores of Nigeria is not enough to think you get a better life out there. There are hurdles. There are challenges. Let me tell you for free. It's not easy. It's not a flash in the pan that once you leave Nigeria, it's just uhuru for you.
Yeah.
So we need to right the wrongs of our country. Our elected representatives do not speak with us. Our elected representatives, they don't really care about us. If the senator, I'm from Edo South Senatorial District of, Edo State. I have tried severally to reach the senator representing me. I got his number. I keep sending WhatsApp messages to him. He doesn't reply. So if there's a critical mass of people holding our elected reps across the country, devoid of religion, devoid of ethnicity, I believe we'll start getting things right.
Sure.
How do you explain that the other day they said 64 billion or so has been put aside to French University of Maiduguri? 64 billion or 640 billion, I can't remember, but it's around that. Now the point is that could build a lot of hospitals.
Of course.
That could build a lot of primary healthcare centers. That could build a lot of recreational centers for our youth to go burn out their energies. But it's not happening. So unless the youths are fed up to say enough is enough, Nigeria is not going to get better. That's just the truth. There needs to be an implosion from within. People need to cry out and fight for what is right. Because at this rate, I don't see any magic, I mean, changing the fortunes of Nigeria. I'm sorry, I don't really see.
We have a question here from Azan. Azan said, "You sure having fun there? Are there structural employment issues in Kenya like in Nigeria, where a graduate is chasing menial jobs?"
The truth is, yes. The population of Kenya keeps increasing like Nigeria, and opportunities are not increasing at that same pace. The growth rate, the population growth rate of Kenya is around 2.6%. But I fear that job creation is far less than 1%. But the good thing about the government here, unlike Nigeria, is the government encourage people to go into agriculture, and they encourage agriculture. I just told you about the dairy industry, where you have your cows, you have your ranch where you ranch your cows. You have the other guy farming hay and other kind of stuff that cows or cattle eat. So, there's an exchange of value. I give you, you pay for the grasses or whatever, you pay for it, and I give you the grasses. You feed your cow. Once it's matured, you sell for meat, or you produce your milk. So there's the government is encouraging that from the grassroots. There's something to do here. They are good at sport, long distance race. Kenya they are known for that. So the government kind of encourages people to go into sports. There's usually sports activities going on here and there. Even with the privatization going on, there's the local content. The Chinese come to give the SGR like they do in Nigeria, but they are setting roles. You can't bring a Chinese from China to come do. It has to be Kenyans. So, the opportunities are not going as fast as the population, because Kenya is fairly stable within the Eastern Corridor here, within the sub-region. There's a lot of migration from up north, from Somalia, from the eastern corner, from Uganda, and South Sudan as well, maybe from Ethiopia. So people are moving in, and all of that. So opportunities, yeah, it's not as rosy, I must confess. But I mean, the government is genuine in trying to help. But again, the challenges are there, just like Nigeria.
Yeah, Nigeria really, our youth are also trying, because while I was back home in Nigeria, they are doing a lot of things. Even you talk about farming, a lot of graduates are into farming. I myself, I was into shoemaking, but the system was really, really frustrating our efforts, So now, do you really advise people to leave their country? If everyone leaves, then who is going to fight for us? I'm not trying to sound selfish because I'm out of the country, but if everyone should leave, what happens to our next generation? Who is going to stand and put the government in their place?
You see, the Nigerian case is kind of very, very difficult, and I'll tell you why. If you go to any police barrack in Nigeria or army barrack in Nigeria, those guys are not living the best of life.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever there are wrongdoings of the government, you want to cry out. It is these people that are being, robbed of their God's own resources. They are the same people that will be used to chase protesters. Even people that speak from abroad, like the Reno Omokris of this world, the Farouk Perogi of this world, they can't come to Nigeria. Because they are being threatened by government. Whenever they post anything on social media exposing corruption in high places, they put it on social media, they get called by someone in government that, hey, you don't talk ill of the government. We are watching you. Whenever you step your foot in Nigeria, we are going to arrest you. So the government has intimidated the people, to the point that people can no longer talk.
Exactly.
Nigeria is a country where in 2012, when the government of Ebelo Jonathan increased fuel prices, in the bid to deregulate the downstream oil sector. Remember the Ojota mega rally? Ojota was jam-packed. People were cooking there. People cried. People were protesting.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know the cost of fuel price in Nigeria now, but the last time I followed, it was 145 naira to a liter. And people are quiet. People are quiet. The other day, it was said that $2.5 billion worth of oil was filtered away from the Nigerian shores and deposited in tank farms in China. $2.5 billion. If it leaves the British financial system, it will collapse. No joke. It will collapse. It left our country. A whistleblower, Jude, from the US, exposed it, and Nigerian youths kept themselves busy with Big Brother. So you see, if things must change, people must be hungry for that change. Nobody will do it. I mean, nobody will do it. All these killings, all this ongoing killing, has the world leader said anything? No, because we people, the Nigerian people should be ready to fight, to break themselves away from the shenanigans of the people in government. Otherwise, things will be like this, and you won't get worse for the next generation.
Well, it's a pity. So we have a question here from Azan still. He said, what is the quality of tertiary education in Kenya in terms of infrastructure and quality of studies? I saw a picture on social media comparing University of Nigeria and Ghana, and I almost shed tears for Nigeria. How is it over there in Kenya?
Okay, to start with, Kenya, I think, has the highest internet mobility in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa. I don't know about Egypt, but because of their closeness to the Indian Ocean, they have, fiber cables running to the Middle East and, of course, to India and all of that. So, one thing they are good with here is, for one, education here is not cheap. It's not cheap. The government gives subsidy to people to go to school and all of that. So to that extent, because they charge, I've just driven across the university. There's a university called Pwani University. I've not gone in. But because people pay for education here, I want to believe that infrastructure-wise, they are okay. I've met with a lot of graduates. They conduct themselves well. They speak well. I'll give it to them. I mean, an average housemate here in Kenya speaks good English, and they will tell you most of them are what we call primary 6 dropout. I mean, they left primary 6, and when they talk, you can feel that they've really gone through school, and school have gone through them as well. So, to that extent, I want to believe that the standard of education here, infrastructure-wise, they are doing better, if you ask me. I mean, that's what I can say, from what I've seen so far.
Okay, Onoma says, are there goods and services that are needed urgently in Kenya that Nigerians can offer for capital?
Yes, to start with, Kenya, okay, to start with, Kenya has, of course, like every other country, they have their competitive advantage. They have things that are sought after in other parts of the world. And to that extent, too, they have things that they lack that other countries can bring. One of the things I think Kenyans, need or that is needed in Kenya because of the growing West African population is the West African foodstuff. Gari is very expensive here. Palm oil is very expensive, and there's a huge market for it. Because Nairobi, for instance, has a lot of multinational organizations, United Nations, African Union offices. We have a lot of organizations that have people from all walks of life working. There are a lot of Ghanaians, a lot of Nigerians, of course, you know, and other citizens from West Africa. I think is one area where people can really, you know, go into. I think there's an opportunity there. I think that is one thing. I mean, of course, oil. Although we don't refine our oil for now, we don't refine to export. So they usually buy from Europe, like we do, refined oil. We have the crude. Yeah, that is what I can think at this moment in time. That can come from Nigeria to Kenya.
Okay, we have a question from Kate. She said, what role can the diaspora play in the fight, or should it be solely those living within Nigeria? I tell you, a lot of people here have been fighting. So we can respond to that.
Okay, that's a good question. Kate, thanks for that question. There are pressure groups that are pushing for a change. Some are really, really extreme. Some are calling for the balkanization of the Nigerian state, which personally, to be honest, I'm indifferent. If we need to balkanize it for it to work, all fine and good. If we need to work something together to keep us together, all fine and good. The diaspora can play a great role. You know, there's an organization called NIDO, Nigerian Diaspora Organization. I know it exists. I'm not a member though, but I know it exists. We have a lot of Nigerian professionals in that group. Grace, I believe you know about them. Have a lot of Nigerian professionals in that group. There can be a pressure group to put the government on their toes. There are some social media hangouts, some social media groups that are calling for change. There's a guy called Maegun, Maegun's Diary Political. I don't know, somehow he's been censored and all of that, but he's on YouTube. I've not seen him on Facebook for a while. He's been putting pressure for a better Nigeria. He's called people on his show to talk about Nigeria, that the current arrangement is not working. And people are talking, to be honest. Will the government listen is another thing. You know, it's one thing for people to talk. It's another thing for the government to listen. And if there's one thing I know is going on, the genocide of the Aborigines of the Middle Belt. It's been brought up by the United Nations. Everyone has a right to life. You know, the government is not doing enough, or better put, they are complicit, if you like. So there are groups I know of. I belong to some of these groups that are, you know, asking for a better Nigeria. I mean, you've seen some of my Instagram rants. You know, it's for us to have a better country, because regardless of where you go, you see Nigerian. The other day, someone called me hush puppy, and I laughed it off. I wanted to educate the person, but I didn't have the opportunity to tell him that, you know, yes, you see every Nigerian as a hush puppy, you know, but it's a failure of the system. You know, it's a failure of the system. Hush puppy kind of epitomizes what happens in Nigeria on a day-to-day. The government is busy fleecing the people, you know, so people are really talking to change the narrative. People are working, but the government isn't listening. That's just the big problem we've got. Whenever you bring something out, you say something, people look at your tribe or your religion to want to, you know, box you to a corner. Oh, you know, like if you're from the southern part of Nigeria and maybe a Christian, you criticize Buhari, they'll say because you're a Christian from the south. You know, and likewise, you criticize someone from my tribe, for instance. You know, a northerner criticize someone from my tribe. Someone from my tribe will like, you know, what are you talking about? Is our thief? You know, he's not your thief. You know, so unless, you know, everyone comes out to say what is wrong, regardless of the tribe, the creed, you know, the tongue, you know, what is wrong, and let's tackle it wholeheartedly and get solutions. We'll just be where we are. Yeah, just to finish up on Kate's question, the diaspora, there are many organizations that are working, people are talking, that I know.
Yeah, and the thing is that we don't promote ourselves. You know, people are doing great things out there, and if you go, like I said in the last edition of this, if you go to the internet and just type in Hush Puppy in the search engine, your system, I mean, the information, your system will almost collapse with the volume of information that will come out. But people like yourself, you know, and other people who are doing great things out there, we don't get to hear about them because we don't promote ourselves. And that is why we are also having problem out here too, because people look at us when you say you're from Nigeria, you know, they become so skeptical about doing business with you and all that. And these are the things we also have to fight against. It begins with us even before we get to our government. You know, and I think we have another question here. Okay, still from Kate. She said, what is Kenya's export standard? Any documents you can share or link to get info?
Yeah, there's one thing Kenya does well because apart from tourism, part of their export, their export, and one other export for them is agriculture. Kenya, as a country, is the second largest net exporter of horticultural products to the Eurozone. What am I saying? Kenya, the rose flower you see that they show on Valentine's Day and all of that, is most likely from Kenya. So it moves from Kenya to Schiphol, Amsterdam. From Amsterdam, it starts going to Western Europe, Eastern Europe, and the Americas, Brazil, Argentina, US, Canada. There's a lot of very good horticultural business here. It's very good. Now there's the KEBS. There's what they call KEBS, the Kenyan Bureau of Standards. It's a government. It's akin to SON, what we call SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria. So it's akin to that, it's similar to that. So KEBS, you know, before you export anything, I've had discussions around this, you know, trying to move things around, and but like it has to come through KEBS, you have to certify it. And it's a good thing because if it fails when it gets to the destination, it discredits the Kenyan market. I don't know if you get that part.
Yeah.
If what you're exporting out of Kenya fails credibility test at the destination, it puts a dent on the Kenyan business. So they are very, very, meticulous about what leaves the country. And if you go type KBS or Kenyan Bureau of Standards, you'll see a lot. You can read a lot. It's on the internet. You know, you can get a lot of materials about KEBS. I can share with you guys because there are lots of things that live here. I mean, that for me, I had a discussion with the former envoy, Nigerian envoy the son of the former envoy the son of the former Nigerian envoy to Kenya. We talked about that possibility of moving horticultural products from Kenya to Nigeria. You know, there were so many bottlenecks on the Nigerian side, funny enough, not even here. So, you know, myself and my family, we visited the part of the country where these whole things are planted. And lo and behold, the atmospheric conditions there is similar to what you have in the plains of Taraba, in the plateaus of Jos. But unfortunately, we can't do those here because it's occupied by people from the Futajalo with AK-47. So again, there's a whole lot that can leave from Nigeria from Kenya to Nigeria, and you can check on the Kenya Bureau of Standards website.
Okay, I think we have one question here. Godwin said you should elaborate more on the cultural shock you experienced in Kenya.
Okay, our addictions are different. The way we pronounce words.
Same here.
Yeah. I mean, my wife, a lot of times, she usually have battles with them, the way they pronounce words, and, you know, even myself, at times, when I talk, they're like, oh God, we can't hear you, your accent is deep. And likewise, I struggle with the accent too. So a lot of times you just relax, listen, you know, That's one on one side. One that you know, for me, like an average Nigerian child, you walk into a house, you can't just go and shake one elderly man, you know. But here, a small kid just come and see a 70-year-old old man and just stretch his hand. So I wasn't doing it, and certain people thought I was being rude or I was being proud. Oh, he's the proud Nigerian. So when I got to know, I said, hey, it's not a thing of pride. Where I come from, it's the elderly man that will stretch his hand first. Then you go shake, not the other way around, you know. Yeah, so that one was kind of striking for me. And the food, is still a big struggle for me. That's why I would try to get food from West African shops within the country. So they have some good delicacies as well, but that was one big one for me as well.
Yeah, I can relate to that. It took me a while to start calling, you know, my bosses by name. You know, I always call them Mr. Rogers, Mr. That, and, you know, people were looking at me. So it took me a while to, you know, start calling them by name, because from where I'm coming from, I dare not call someone that is older than me by name, you know. So, Patrick, let me ask you this now. If you're asked to go back to Nigeria to live all you, I mean, I can see you're doing very well in Kenya, you know, the environment is so friendly, you know, and the infrastructures are good, like you have said. Now you are told to leave everything in Kenya, go to Nigeria, and become the president or a senator in Nigeria. Will you accept the offer, and why?
Okay, to become a senator, I won't even think of it. Because a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a senator is a toothless bulldog. They don't have, just see what's happening there. So you can't do much. Look at Ben Bruce got tired and he resigned from the Senate. So you really can't do much. To become the president, definitely I'll go for that, because I've been talking, I've been complaining, I will go for that. First and foremost, I don't know if you asked what will I do differently. Did you ask that question?
Yeah, I was going to ask that, but
okay. But for the president, yes, definitely, I'll go. I'll love to live in Nassau.
So what would you do differently then?
You see, for every country, if you read about the Industrial Revolution in Europe after the Second World War, how Germany started, the cottage industries and all of that, then they started building institutions. They started building institutions. And that is what's strong one at that. And that is what is lacking in Nigeria. Let me give you a typical example. The EFCC. At every given point in time, whenever there's a fraud case against a member of the ruling party, be it PDP or APC, the EFCC gloss around it. You know, I hear the lawyers talk, how do we present this in court to fool the public? You will build institutions. Such institutions should be devoid of any presidential influence. They should be very independent. INEC should be independent, your electoral body, because that's where it starts from. Because we have a compromised INEC as we have today. I mean, look at what happened in Kogi State the other day, or Kogi State or Osun State. That was brazen robbery. If you have an independent electoral commission that will do their job without bias, you will get people who have earned the popular votes of the electorate. Now, they will know that the power resides with the electorate. They are answerable to the electorate, not one man in Aso Rock. So for them to get re-elected, they will do all it takes to ensure that the electorates are okay. So I'm just taking INEC as a branch now. Because that is not right, we get Supreme Court governors, you know, appeal courts, House of Rep members, senators, running affairs of things in Nigeria. So you don't get the right people into position. You don't get the popular people into position. You get roguish people into position. So that is a big problem. That's a fundamental problem that has to be fixed. You get someone with an unblemished record to run INEC for you. Now, I will now go into areas where we get revenue. The NNPC, I will scrap the NNPC. That is a cash cow that has held Nigeria moribund. It's not working. They're just milking Nigeria. I will unbundle the NNPC. We will get private players that will come in, because I'm saying from the backdrop of what I experienced with the MERS group. Obasanjo, may God continue to bless his soul, concession the ports, and private players came in. What the NPA does today is a regulatory function. How much tonnages did you bring in a year? 700,000 TEUs. They check other records if they match. Check all the available records if they match. Yes, they tick the box. When you have government involved in business, it's a struggle, because there's so much graft, there's so much corruption. So, like I said, I'll make institutions strong and independent. So once those are working, people won't want to steal because they are affiliated to the president, or because you are an Edo man like me, you go and steal. You face the music. You get the point. Or because we grow up together in Legico, you go and run an institution down. You will face the music. So if institutions of the state are independent, the army, the IG of police does what is right. The chief of army staff does what is right. The commissioner of police at the state level does what is right. Nigeria will get better. So if not until we address those fundamental ills of the government, the fundamental ills of the country, and again, you restructure the country, because as it is today, it's not working. We should go back and revisit the Willis Commission of 1946. We've had several commissions till the confab of 2014. There have been several recommendations of how to move the Nigerian state forward. If I become the president, I will revisit all the reports of all the commissions from 1946.
You sure have a lot to offer. So would you consider going into politics?
You said?
Would you consider going into politics?
No way. They say every politics is local. They say every politics is local. For me to become relevant politically, not government appointment. Government appointment is different. Politics, as in elective positions.
Yeah.
I'll have to go to my ward that I've never been to start with. So I'm more or less a stranger. They'll call me just the way they are treating the current governor of Edo State. They call him a Yoruba man or a Lagos governor. He's not an Edo governor because he didn't grow up there. He didn't really, So those are challenges that will be hard for me to surmount. And the citizen education as regards votes, election has gotten to that level that will say, regardless of where he's coming from, regardless of who he knows, so long as his track record says he can do it, you should encourage him. So voter education has got to that point. So it's not something that's not going to work. I shouldn't deceive myself. And again, the way politics is done in Nigeria. Huh?
You really can't tell. If you don't give it a try. Okay. Tokwe said you spoke about the industrial automation. What will be the effect in Nigeria, especially when we have not fully put our human resources into use?
Okay. Thanks, Tokwe. I think I talked about on two different locations. I talked about industrial revolution and automation separately. So I don't know which you're referring to.
I was referring to the automation.
Okay, yeah, okay. You see, let me put it this way. Let's say in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, let me put the industry, I'm very familiar with the port industry. If you want to discharge a box from a ship, a container from a ship, you have somebody on the ship writing, you have somebody ashore on the ground writing, you have somebody in the stacking area where you put the boxes writing. You have a lot of people writing everywhere. Today that has changed. There's someone there's someone listening. His name is Bimbo. We worked on something where I was working before. We used to work in the same companies, just left too. We automated a lot of processes along that value chain, from vessel arrival to the box getting into the stack. People involved, the paperwork along those lines, we eliminated. We introduced gadgets into the whole thing. So container updates were done remotely. Even recently I saw something on YouTube wherein terminals are manless. There's a terminal in Rotterdam, it's manless. You don't have anybody, nobody. The operator is in a simulator in a room, operating the machines, picking the box with the crane outside. The truck is manless. It's controlled by DGPS, like digital position detection systems. So it's already mapped. The algorithm is there, wherein the trucks are moving, they are not clashing. I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to stand where a truck is not driven by someone, but it happens today in our world. So that brings about efficiency. That brings about, revenue profits, increase in profit, because there's less head to pay for. There's less head to pay medicals for. There's less head to keep up and all of that. So it drives your cost down. As far as jobs is concerned, yes, it's going to cut jobs. It's a no-brainer. It's going to cut jobs. But in an economy that is continuously evolving, those people will find where they will add value in the economy. So if Nigeria, because that's not happening in the private sector, if the public sector embraces automation in their dealings, I mean, go to a court today, one clerk will open one big file, checking for one case. If everything is in a system, with a click of a button, you get it. In Rwanda here, just the next country here, close to Kenya here, to register a business, it takes you 1 day. You don't settle anybody. You get your PIN, you go online, you put in the details, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the year, you get all your certificate and all that. 1 day, they've automated all the process. They've taken off the middleman. There's no interview. You don't talk to, you just meet one person, you go to the bank, there's a one-stop shop. You go to a kiosk, you select the bank, you pay. And once you make payment, you go, it's an interactive screen. Next page, you fill this, your nationality. Next page, you fill your age, your everything. And at the end of the day, you get a certificate. You're good to go. That's that very day. So automation will change the face of doing business, because, I mean, I dare say Nigeria is fantastically corrupt. That's the truth. So if you eliminate where humans are involved, you automate as much as possible, you run your business efficiently. It's a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer.
Thank you for that.
All right, Patrick. Now, a lot of people who are listening or who will be watching this video when it's uploaded on our blog, they'll like, what advice can you give to those of them who are aspiring, to leave their country, to pursue their dream elsewhere? What would you advise them? What's your advice for them? Because you gave us your story, how you started. The transition wasn't that, I mean, you went through some challenges like every other person did. So what's your advice to them?
Okay, to start with, I would advise, don't leave Nigeria and end up in another country as an illegal immigrant. It's difficult. I understand the struggles. I understand the amount of lack we are experiencing in Nigeria. It's hard because, even with your legitimate papers, you still have some hurdles to go through. Of course, I meet a lot of Nigerians here that don't have the requisite papers to be here. It's not easy. It's not an easy task. However, I must say this, as much as we feel things are terrible in Nigeria, the opportunities in Nigeria are quite enormous. If you look at the agriculture subsector alone, looking at the population, which is our strength, our population is our strength. If you want to move yams from your home state, Benue State, to Lagos, you will sell those yams. People must eat. So there are so many untapped opportunities in Nigeria. But I know there are still challenges because moving your yams from Benue State to Lagos State, you will encounter checkpoints. You will be extorted. That will add up into your cost of doing business. It will drop down, it will drop your profit margins down. So those challenges are there. For those that want to remain, I urge people as much as possible, look inwards and try and tap every opportunity that exists inwards. There's the agricultural subsector. Interestingly, Buhari has signed into law mining of gold to individuals, but individuals are not mining oil. So you can, if you have the money, you have the chest, the war chest, you can go into mining of gold. Gold is a store of value, economics, is a store of value. With the dwindling of the naira, you can buy gold and keep. At the right time, you sell to recoup your investment. That's an opportunity. Real estate is an opportunity. Unfortunately, Nigerian banks they are not really doing banking. Hassan, that's just the fact. They are not really doing banking. They don't give mortgage. If you want to get a mortgage from a bank, they'll ask you for the death certificate of your ancestors. So they just give you, it's very hard for you to access capital to raise the business. But if you can start small and grow it. For those that want to leave the shores of the country, I will tell people what I was told by my British MD before I left Nigeria. He told me, we chatted some few days back. Ensure you make your country proud. He said, I know you will. This is not the first time you're leaving, but ensure you make your country proud. For anyone that wants to live offshore, please ensure you get yourself into something legitimate. As bad as people want to, badmouth Nigeria, Nigerians are really good people. I mean, from where we live here, we Mr. Abiodun, no disrespect. From where we live here, we see ourselves as very generous people. Our host people we see around are not that generous. So Nigerians are nice people. We share. Just be nice. Ensure you indulge in what is legitimate, because for everyone soul that does something bad, it smears the image of Nigeria without a doubt. So for anyone that wants to leave Nigeria, please try and ensure you do things legitimate. And if you need to support one person back home to pull the person from poverty, please, I'll suggest that person does it.
Oh, that's great. So for those who would love to, move to Kenya, what's the immigration system like over there?
Okay, immigration in Kenya, well, visa is visa on arrival. As of today, I don't know if it's going to change for Nigeria, because like Tanzania actually changed it for Nigerians. You no longer visa arrival for Nigerians. But Kenya, they had problems with Nigerian immigrants, illegal immigrants last year. I think it was mooted along, it was mooted that should we just restrict, you have to get a visa before coming and all of that. But it hasn't been discussed in Parliament as far as I know. So it's visa on arrival, it's $50. The opportunities are not much. I got to be honest with you. The opportunities in Kenya aren't much. But again, there are things you can still do. There are cash crops you could move. There's something called sisal fiber. It's they use it for POP ceilings. It's a sponge-like material they use for POP ceilings. I think Kenya has one of the best, if not the best, in the world. And again, the standards are high because you can't ship out any shitty product. The government is really interested because they want to maintain that high standard. So it's one thing that even Dangote moves from here. So I saw, I have one of the plantations like 45 minutes drive from my house, or 30 minutes drive from my house, sorry. That is one thing. If you want to come to Kenya, it's one thing you can do. Shea butter there's the East African shea butter, but the West African shea butter, I think, because it's well sought after, I think it's of higher nutritional value. So it's one thing that is craved for here. Our fabrics is one thing they really like here. Yeah, those are the things I can really, those are the opportunities that are bound here, that Nigerians can come, once you visit here, you want to come here, as getting like a business permit is one thing you can do. You can open a Nigerian cuisine. Kenyans love our jollof rice. So, yeah, so, and some love our pepper soup. So you can, and assume, so you can do all of those things here. It's something, because Nairobi is very cosmopolitan. You have people from, it's a tourist country, and Nairobi is like a hub for a lot of things. So there's a lot of opportunities there. Okika clothes is a big thing here that people deal in. I know people deal in that as well. But the opportunities are not as vast as we have in Nigeria. That's why, like what I said earlier, there are loads of opportunities in Nigeria. People should try and explore those opportunities and make something out of it.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for telling us your story from Kenya. We are so honored to have you in our program today. And for those of you joining, I believe you've learned a lot from his story. And if you are planning to go out there to pursue your dreams, I mean, you know what to do to get it right. Please subscribe to our blog, felijo.blogspot.com, so that you can get an update on all stories from the diaspora. We'll also be uploading this video. You can tell those who couldn't make it, to visit our blogs and, listen to all Patrick has said today. Thank you, all of you, and I'm so grateful for your support. And good evening.
Thanks, everyone.